Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Great to see you. Happy Tuesday. I am sorry I missed you yesterday. It was not my best day, but I am here today. I have energy. I'm excited. I got the newest copy of Rug Hooking Magazine. So this is January, February 2022. We're going to look and see what great articles are in here, and they are all great. And I want to start by saying good morning to everybody. I missed you yesterday. It was not tip top. Thank you for understanding. Holiday times, crazy times, pressure times. Oh, it's a lot, isn't it? Kirsten, good morning. Good to see you. Bright with snow in Vermont. You know, I was going to ask you if you had snow on the ground there, because the way I picture it, Vermont just at this time of year is just must have snow. Turns out it does have snow. That is so nice. It just got to be freezing here in Connecticut. So I'm wondering if we're looking at snow, maybe a white Christmas. It's not, I don't think it's really in the forecast, but it is the right temperature at least. So we are partway there. Christmas in Connecticut and all that. Remember that movie? I think that's my favorite of the holiday movies. That and The Bishop's Wife. Aileen, beautiful and sunny in Toronto. Good to see you. Good morning, Robin. Great to see you. I love the pictures you posted on your Facebook this weekend of the family wedding. That was really nice. Renee, great to see you. Sunny, cool Central Coast. Oh, great to see you. Linda, Vermont sounds beautiful. It does. Little snowman, little glowing snowman. Mom, you are on. Happy coffee time. I hope you did good at the ear doctor. What? Just kidding. Just kidding. Suze, good to see you in Kansas. Welcome back to Coffee Time. Tara, welcome back to Coffee Time. Good afternoon. All four sleeps until Santa. You're right. You're right. That means I do not have much time to get Jocelyn onto Santa's lap at this point. And by the way, if you tuned in on Friday for cocktail time, it was our bingo night. Huge thanks to Kira for putting the holiday edition of bingo together this month, Rug Hooking Bingo. It was super fun. The kids were wild, feral animals and fighting over who got to be on camera, which is kind of ironic because neither of them ever want to come run shows with me. But they both did on that night. We had a lot of fun. It was also Teddy's actual birthday date. So that was exciting. He turned double digits 10 with us on Cocktail Time on Friday. It was a fun episode to run. And we played a couple of mini games, which worked out great. So we'll be doing more mini games in the future. It just makes for more winners. I think it's more exciting throughout. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, Susan, good to see you. Good morning in Venice, Florida. How nice. Penny in South Carolina. Rainy and dreary and cold, but I'm happy that you're there. It's good to see you. Beverly, you sent me a great message. I'm going to see if I even get there in this episode today. I feel we have so much content to do, and it's getting to be right up to Christmas. Beverly, good to see you. Thanks for that great email. Joy, great to see you. Even though it's raining in Florida, I bet it's beautiful. C. Burdette, hi from Colorado. You're making your first rug. Fantastic. I hope it's going well. Just keep going with whatever you're doing. I'm sure it's beautiful. And just remember, we all get frustrated and we all trip ourselves up. Just keep going. It's going to come out great. And if you need help, make sure to give us a shout out. We are always here to help. We're a big community and we always want to see people succeed, you know. Mom says, love Christmas in Connecticut. There is moisture in the forecast. So a dance of the temps. Yeah, it could either bring us rain or snow. It depends on where we stay with that thermostat. Donna, great to see you in Portland, Oregon. Courtney, there you are. Good to see you. Amy, good morning and happy Christmas from Virginia Beach. Happy Christmas to you too. I am so excited. Kathleen, good to see you. I have my treasure right behind me. I'm going to show in a second. Oh my gosh. I've got to get, where did I put Carol's rug? Carol's rug. Carol sent the Van Gogh. I had it right. Yeah, I got it right there. Whew. Claire, great to see you. Claire wrote and reminded me this weekend about Van Gogh in Boston. So I was thinking about that because we've done so much with Van Gogh, with the Designing Like Van Gogh class and our Van Gogh Chair Challenge. I'm about to open Carol's Van Gogh Chair Challenge that she sent. I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to talk more about that. But I was thinking about, I'm going to look at the dates for Van Gogh in Boston. I was thinking about it might be a good thing for those of us who are in the Boston area or New England area that want to go to the Van Gogh exhibit. It might be a nice thing to try to plan going together and meeting each other there. Maybe doing it in conjunction with some other little thing that would be fun. Certainly maybe going to Quincy Market or something and having some food or having a meal together or something like that if we all want to meet and do the Van Gogh. I'm a little worried about the Van Gogh, Claire, because I have looked at the videos and the exhibit pictures, and it does look so stirring and inspiring and exciting, but it also looks like it has super potential to make me feel seasick with vertigo. So I have to be careful about that, because from what I'm seeing, the projections spin on the walls and also the floor. I'm not super good with that for some reason. It's not going to stop me from going, but it's something that I think that people should be really aware of, because it does mess with your senses and your stability, doesn't it? Still going, and I still would like to plan something there. Carol, oh, Carol in Wisconsin, I'm about to open your package. Susan says, hi, Joy, nice to meet you. Oh, good, you're chatting with where you are in Florida. That's fantastic. Crystal, I love to see you. Hello from Halifax. Great to see you. Crafter's Grimoire Sanctuary. Yes, you made it. I was just checking you out the other day with interest and fascination and friendliness. Of course, I'm so glad you're there. You'd like to take the train up, Kathleen? That would be great. It'd be a great day. We can make it into a really nice day. I could see what else is around there, that might have rugs that they could take out specifically for us. We could see what we could do. We don't want to make an exhaustive plan, and it's so nice to just walk around, look at the historic things in Boston too. We could maybe make a rug project, like we could take a little walk along like the Freedom Trail kind of thing. Look at the Paul Revere House, the Old North Church, maybe come up with some rug designs. Ooh, maybe I could put together like some free patterns for that day for people who show up, and then we could go home and hook some things based on our day. Ooh, that could be nice. That could be nice. Interesting. We'll think about that and evolve that plan for sure. You can blame me, that's okay. It's good to expand your stash. That is a weird sentence, but it's a good thing. It's nice to have the things you need when you feel like working, right? Because getting a weird speed bump like having to find a craft store or order stuff online, who needs that? If you've got all your junk right there, you'll be in good shape to start a new project, right? That's enabling. Isn't that enabling? Joy. Oh, good to see everybody. Kathleen, thank you so much for my beautiful tree here. If you can see, it's in like a little silver cup, and it's got this beautiful fabric that almost looks like candle wicked fabric. I don't want to move it because it's perfectly staged over here. And I put some of my favorite little ornaments on it with this beautiful card that I hope it's okay if I share it, that says, breathe in the wonder, take in the beauty, make time to just be. And Kathleen wrote on the card, make sure that you look at this card and you put it within view. So even when the holiday's over, I am going to make sure that I keep this little tree out, and I have this little card here because I needed to be reminded of that yesterday. I was not good. It's good to remember to take time out and just be. And I also want to be sure that this episode does not go by without you noticing this piece of wonderment, right? So I hope if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you've got your ugly sweater on deck. I've got many because I'm an old mom with young kids, and they can't live without this. So thus, none of us can, right? None of us can. Thank you. Check out the French restaurant on Newbury Street. Oh, I love Newbury Street. Is that what it's called, the French restaurant? I have not been to Newbury Street for many years, since I was young and shopping for clothing. Have you ever read that great, I guess it's a novella, not even a short story, called Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell, right? Do you know this one? She was a contemporary of Dickens and a friend of Dickens. She wrote this great novella, Victorian period writer, about this young woman who lived in Cranford. It wasn't about her. She was one of the many community of women in Cranford. I think they've made a movie of this that I have yet to see, BBC movie. But this young woman was so much, as a young woman, interested in fabric and fashion and clothing and new dresses, and she had tons of beautiful material, things to make for herself, and it was all about herself. And then she, a little bit later in the story, transitions to being a mother, and she ends up using up and cutting up all of her old fabrics that were meant for her to make things for the baby. And it was just such a beautiful part. It's a beautiful story. That's a fraction of it. It's a slice of it. But it's like a Victorian soap opera, and it revolves around the lives of many women. It's called Cranford with an N. But that always reminds me of that when I think about the younger days and shopping for myself, my makeup and my hair and all that stuff, and then having the kids, and everything just went away. Everything is completely about them. Even what I'm wearing is about them these days. It's funny how things change, isn't it? So, oh, Carol, I'm just opening the card and I want to share the Van Gogh rug that Carol did. I'm opening it live. Um, I love to get stuff. I have been getting the nicest cards. And I really appreciate you thinking about me during the holiday seasons. I'm thinking about you too. I've not got my stuff together in a fantastic way. And I hope that next year the company will. We put out the crackers this year, which I thought was great. But I hope next year we can do even more stuff at Christmas time. I hope I won't be so sort of burdened by deadlines and other projects that are wonderful, but a burden and a bit of an anchor. I hope that next year we are a little more wild and free to plan things, get together, put more stuff out, put more patterns out, free patterns, projects, all of that in the new year. That's my hope. Becky, good to see you. Hi, everyone. Woo, made it. Opening. Okay, from me. You scared me. I thought I had something else to open. Good. You've got a package from me. That's good. Oh, there was a big fabric warehouse in Chinatown. Oh, how nice in Chinatown, in Boston or New York? Is it Chinatown, the Chinatown area of Boston? Let me know. I'm curious because that might be a nice little detour. Oh, so Carol says, "Hi, Deanna and friends. My Van Gogh chair challenge features not only my love of Van Gogh, his color palette, his brush strokes, but also my love of food and drink. Ooh, just kitchens in general. My favorite room in every house." That's so true, isn't it? That's where the party always ends up. This piece was hooked with silk, sari yarn, Sari, and wool with a little wood, rope, cork, and beads thrown in. Ooh, that is tantalizing, isn't it? Happy holidays, everyone. Love, Carol. All right, Carol, let's see. Let's see what you done. Boston. Okay, fantastic. I don't know that store at all. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you for the amazing tips. Are you going to come meet us to do the Van Gogh thing? We can all get together? That'd be really nice. Oh, what is going on here? Oh, my word. Carol, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is fantastic. I see where the wood comes in, and there's some cork right here, right outside of the bottle. This is just gorgeous. Look at that. That must be pasta and meatballs, right? How whimsical, how personal and personalized and perfect is this, Carol? You killed it. You killed it. These are just amazingly great. Just amazingly great. I love the Van Gogh rugs. I love this one. It looks like it's all laced up with pasta strands too, doesn't it? It's a spaghetti meal on the Van Gogh chair. I absolutely love it. I hope Barbara's watching too because this was all Barbara's idea doing this. This is just amazing. I absolutely love it. Let me bring you in for all those fibers. Carol, you did so good. You did so good. There's the cork. Isn't that amazingly great? I love how you finished it too, right? Just keep it simple. Perfect. Perfect. Exquisitely perfect. Gosh, that's good. That really is so good. You're going to get a lot of compliments now. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad it made it. I'm not going to say I lost it. I had it on the shelf in here, but I brought it in with some packages. And I put it there in one of my usual dithers. And then I couldn't put my hands on it immediately, and I was panicking big time. But, you know, storm in a teacup. It is here, and it is amazing. Carol, you did a great, great, great job. Beautiful piece. How fun. So let me just remind you, for those of you who are interested, the Van Gogh Challenge started after we ran the Designing Like Van Gogh class a few months ago. And that's one of the classes I forgot to put the poll up, but that I'm thinking about running again for people who are new to our group. On Facebook, it's Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. And I run a Designing Like class every month. This month it's Klimt, right after Christmas. There's one right before New Year and one right after the New Year, Designing Like Klimt. The following month, I've already decided, and the month after that, I've already decided. We got like a Grand Slam coming up. But Van Gogh was very popular, I think, because of this big moving exhibit as well. And as a result, Barbara, who is in our group too, she's in Canada, she said, why don't we do a challenge with the Van Gogh chair? That was one of the things we talked about in the class, was this Van Gogh chair, right? This Van Gogh chair. And so I just drew it as a line drawing. right? He's copyright free. Van Gogh is copyright free. I drew it as a line drawing, and I put it up on Ribbon Candy Hooking, and I put it up on the Facebook group. And it's actually in the description of this current video that you're watching. And people have been taking that drawing, downloading it, altering it however you want. And many people are sending me their Van Gogh rug, and I'm putting together, as I'm getting a feel for it, it looks like we're between 15 and 20 pieces for a small exhibit at some place that's local to me here, Connecticut, Massachusetts kind of thing, at least one stop. And then my hope is that I will be able to, and I'll consult with everybody who sent me something, forward everything, which I will pay for, to the next person, because I know that there's somebody in like Indiana, Indianapolis, that wants to have it next and has a place already, like in the town hall or library or something, to put up the exhibit. So I'm hoping that our Van Gogh pieces, just like the big Van Gogh exhibit, our rug hooked pieces, can travel for a while between hosts, right? And I will figure that out with you if you're interested in hosting it. But it's turning into a nice piece, a nice collection of pieces that will be a wonderful in-person show and also on Zoom. So, I mean, I'll take a great video of it when I stage the show and when that's all done, hopefully early in the new year. I haven't finished my Van Gogh rug. Barbara hasn't finished hers. Kira's working on hers. I know there's a lot of people working on them, so we do not have a hard deadline at this moment. I do not want to create chaos and stress for people. So if you still want to do it, that rug is available on the link that's on this video, and you are welcome to. It's best to let me know if you are working on it, because I'll kind of hold what I'm doing and just account for the ones that I'm still expecting to come in when I make a choice of this would be the best place for us because they can accommodate a show this large, right? And I'm going to deal with the hanging of everything safely. So having said that, I just want, Carol, I love it. I love it. It's a home run. I love it. I just want to, I want to tell you about another class that I just put up, and then let's start commentary. I put up the, not designing like, I put up a beginner class in ribbon candy hooking. The link should be on this description also for the mandala, right? Like drawing your own mandala. And I started drawing mine, right? I broke mine. You're meant to break it into like eighths, like a pie. This is something we do during the class, because the class, which is a live class, which has 2 dates that I'll be live teaching, it'll also be recorded if you can't make either of them, but it's going to come with a kit that gives you the backing, the fiber tape, because the tracing paper, the Sharpie, everything, the wool, the tool if you want it. I have the tool and the hoop separate because I know a lot of people already have a hook and they don't want to pay for that as part of the kit. So I put it all together. So we are actually drawing our own mandala for like the first half hour, transferring it with the fiber tape onto the backing. It's all in the kit. And then we're starting to pull the first loops. So if you are a complete beginner, it'll be great. If you are not a complete beginner and it's just a fun project for us to do together, get you set in your mind with yourself first thing in the new year, making up a mandala, which really represents who you are in your life, right? So I struggled with this a little bit because I haven't been in the best place, but in the center of mine, I put a compass, right? Not just for travel, but for searching and for being lost a lot. So in the center of mine, I've got my compass. And then around the edge, I've got a bunch of leaves, because for me, first being a tour guide and specializing in New England, and then moving out of the country for many, many years and missing New England so much, and the foliage and the seasons and the trees, which for me are best represented with colors of leaves and the times of the year, the cycle of the year. I put my leaves right around, and it's actually broken into quarters, so I've got the 4 seasons represented. And connecting the trees together for the cycle of the year and the seasons, little house, right? It's like a little white house that kind of makes it look a little like a kaleidoscope and keeps it the same going around. And then I had a little bit of dead area around the compass, between the compass. I'm in reverse. That's why my finger is struggling to find to find the loops. I've got these lamb's tongues going around for rug hooking, which is I'm not going to say the center of my life because I have precious children, obviously. But, I mean, for myself, family aside, rug hooking and rug making is the center of my life. It is like the happy thing that I found, right? It's the rainbow's end. So these lamb's tongues represent around the compass finding rug hooking and finding this hobby and finding you and making this my life. So at the beginning of the class, the class is also going to include a printout with tons of kinds of imagery and ideas for things that you could use to make your mandala, right? So you can make something really special. And I started mine. I started it last night. I have not put a lot of time into it yet, but it's broken into fours, as you can see. This is autumn. I'm partway through there. I've got kind of a dusky sky. Got some. I got to put a little bit more autumny leaves in. I've got two white houses in there, a couple of the lamb's tongues. Compass I haven't worked yet, and then I've got summer, which I need more. I feel bright colors, lime green, but I feel like I need more sort of fuchsia and crazy neon colors for summer. And this is going to be spring here with the kind of light peachy colors and again like the rosy, cool, very pastel sky, right? Very pastel. And then this one will be winter. So I've got my whole palette set up, and it was just for me a way of breaking it up. The seasons and the cycle of the year are a big thing for me for keeping me on track. Mentally. So I wanted to include that in my mandala, but yours will be different than mine. So I hope that you look that up. That it's going to be a great class, and it's going to be a lot of fun, something that we can do together. Let me just catch up here. Thank you. Thumbs up would be great. Everybody's loving Carol's rug. It is just over the top fantastic. They are just amazing, this collection of Van Goghs. You're going to make mine from your daughter's childhood art. Fantastic. It doesn't get any better than that. Pulling on children's art is my #1 favorite thing. Oh, do you know Lake Chargogogchubanagungmumog? I was born there. I don't. That is a mouthful. That must be the longest lake, the longest spelled lake in the world. Oh, Brandy, hello in Texas. Great to see you. I'm just reading the comments. I just love it. I just love it. So let me keep going. Let me read. I want to return to our book on rugs, and I'm ready with so much good commentary there. But this came yesterday, and so I wanted to talk about what's inside this current issue of Rug Cooking Magazine. It's a really, really good issue this time. So let's look at some of the main articles in here. The articles that caught my eye, the articles that catch your eye, of course, might be different, but I wanted to give you an overview of what's inside this magazine, because if you don't subscribe, you should subscribe. Whether you are a rug hooker, a puncher, an artist, or just someone who loves to be inspired and loves looking at art, this is a great magazine to subscribe to. There's a massive sale going on right now. I don't know how many more days, but definitely check out Rug Cooking Magazine's webpage, because I know I've been seeing ads for it. And I'm going to be working closely with Rug Cooking Magazine in 2022, writing articles, doing all kinds of stuff together. We've got some surprise giveaways and stuff from them too on this channel. So we'll be working together a lot in the near future. So I can't promote enough having a periodical that there's not a lot for us, is there, out there? There's lots of everything, but not this. So this is a great magazine to belong to. This is the first big article that caught my eye. It's called Fruits of the Earth. And this is a great article by Amzi Collins, my 20-year journey with an Art Nouveau portrait. And the idea behind this is, she says, I started this pattern over 20 years ago at a teacher trainee workshop. Yes, that is what I said, 20 years ago. And to make it even more of a challenge, it's on burlap. Yes, burlap. So this article is about the 20-year journey making this exquisite rug, which is also the cover piece. Amzi Collins, absolutely amazing. Very Art Nouveau, isn't it? Very, very difficult too. So that is a beautiful article. There's a lot of detail here in how to do the shading. For those of you who love the technical part of the craft, articles like this are extremely helpful, telling you exactly where to get that shading in to get that realistic look, right? So that is hard and it's not intuitive, even if you're already a great artist. This is a really beautiful and helpful article. It reminds me of all those posters you always see in Paris, you know, on the underground and stuff, all these like reprints of beautiful Art Nouveau posters. Just gorgeous. And then the next article is by Tamara Pavich, who we love and whose books we've looked at many times and will look at more. Taking Liberties with Portraiture. And this is really a beautiful um, article. Doing portraits, right? Using tonal values on portraits, like using the color wheel, using the technical skills of being an artist, right? Things that are things you can learn, right? Using tones, using midtones, using full tones, replacing colors for values, right? Unexpected colors, plugging them in based on their value, meaning like their intensity, their strength, um, instead of the color that actually is there, right? Instead of using just the flesh colored palette for people's faces, you can use the same exact tone of blue and plug it in place of flesh, if that makes any sense. It's very hard, it's technical, but she's showing you how to do it in this amazing article. Going a little off the beam with portraits, which is I'm so ready for this, right? I'm so ready for this because personally I'm not a huge fan of photorealism, but this I find much more interesting, much more challenging. It's still using the same tools you'd be using if you were doing a realist piece, but you're just choosing different colors. If you think about the swatch cards at like the paint store, Benjamin Moore or whatever, you know, when you look at those swatch cards and you look at the middle tones, if you put like grab some flesh colored ones, whatever your skin tone is or whatever skin tone you like to hook, and then take a blue one or a lime green one or a purple one and put them next to those tones, right? So if you say to yourself, I would go medium dark for the side of the nose and under the eyebrows, you look at what the corresponding color is on the blue swatch card or the lime green or whatever colors you're planning to plug in, and you use that exact color of wool, right, instead. And it will work, right? It will work because when we look at art, when we look at faces, they're hard, right? Because there has to be some element of realism if you're doing them in this style. But what you're looking for is the tone. Your eye is not necessarily looking for the color. It's looking for the tone. It's looking for contour, contrast. It's looking for definition. And you can do that with any color. It doesn't have to be flesh on flesh, dark flesh, light flesh. So it's just an interesting article that opens up a whole new world of hooking. And for those of you, again, who love Hey Lisa, you know, hooking in a realistic fashion, hooking portraiture, that's going to be the article for you, right? Like of all time. And Tamara Pavich is so good. She's so good. Another beautiful article by Susan Cunningham on abstract rugs. And, you know, I love this issue because it really is. It's bringing us through the gamut. Lots of realism in this article. You know, the Art Nouveau poster, the realism, you know, the way the girl was hooked. And then Tamara Pavich's different take on portraiture, going right to abstract rugs, right? Shapes and colors. Really, really diverse issue this time. Sometimes magazines, this magazine, any magazine, they go with a theme, and that's what you get throughout. This first issue of 2022, it's very diverse. So no matter what you like, you're going to be challenged because you're going to see other things and go, I didn't know I liked that. I didn't know I liked abstract rugs. And you're going to find, really, with the examples that you're using in this article, that you really do. Oh, how funny! I'm trying to look at your side chat too because it's interesting. Oh, it is interesting. I'm gonna have to read back later. Denise, good to see you. I see you logged on. I love Rug Cooking Magazine too. I love it when it comes. It's a bi-monthly, right? I love it when it comes. This is my favorite article of this issue, right? And part of it is because I love Rebecca Martin. I think she's a great person, a kind person, another mother of, like, you know, younger kids, busy, very, very involved in the punch world, but also a hooker. And this article is so beautifully written. I want to share part of it with you because it's so personal, and I love that. That's my favorite thing. Reading an article is to get a feel for what the person is like. She is a lovely person. So this is called To Punch or to Hook, right? Two sides of the same coin. And this article is based on a pillow that she did that you can see. It's about punching and hooking. So one side of the pillow is and let me see you close up, punching is punched, and the other side is hooked, or vice versa. That one's punched. But it's showing that both are viable, both are essentially the same end result. Neither one is better than the other, neither is higher up on the totem pole or on the prestige scale. They are both fantastic, viable options for doing textile work, right? So her article is called Two Sides of the Coin. Switch to my super strength readers. United in Wool. I love that. She says, heads or tails? Traditional rug hooking and punch needle hooking are like the different sides of the same coin. One side uses a hook and the other side uses a punch. Both create a running loop stitch. One side is not luckier than the other. One side is not better than the other. They are just different and part of the whole. Now that is really important. I love these voices of people who work in this field who are all about unifying and unity, right? We're all doing the same work. I really appreciate that sentiment, and I appreciate every time I read it and hear it, I appreciate it because not enough people are saying it out loud, right? We're saying, what do you do? Do you do this or you do that? Oh, subliminally, I'm thinking I'm better than you because you do this and I do that. It just doesn't work like that, does it? And it shouldn't be like that. So she says, and this is so sweet. I was indirectly exposed to both forms of rug hooking at an early age. I spent my teenage summers as a mother's helper for a family on Nantucket. The mother of the family, Louie, had a great influence on me. I was at an age when any family but your own feels magical and perfect, and she was perfect in my eyes. She treated me like a peer, yet encouraged me like a mother in my artistic pursuits. At the time, I loved needlepoint, and I have to say there is a great needlepoint shop on Nantucket. Really great. I hope it's still there. She bought me blank canvases and set me on a path designing my own patterns. Their Nantucket home was beautiful and filled with gorgeous New England style hooked rugs that were punched with yarn, although I didn't know that they were punched at the time. And I studied them as I worked on my needlepoint, unsure of how they were made. Now, it's worth injecting here, as I'm sure you know, that this is Claire Murray territory, Nantucket, right? This is where she left Manhattan to go to Nantucket, and this is her territory. So I'm guessing when she's talking about seeing rugs that are made from yarn, whether they're hooked or punched, that we are including, right? You cannot talk about Nantucket and not be aware that Claire Murray is there doing these really important and iconic images as kits, right? One summer, Louie set aside her own needlepoint for a new creative project, a rug hooking project. It looked like the rugs underfoot, and I was fascinated. Would she be able to make something similar? The kit instructed her to tuck the foundation cloth under her leg to create tension. And I want to remind you, because she's not mentioning Claire Murray in this article, but I want to remind you that Claire Murray has never used a frame or a hoop, right? She hooks on her lap. So this makes me think more than ever that we're talking about Claire Murray kit or influence, right? It came with colorful yarn and a hook. Louie struggled greatly with the kit. With what I know today, I can see why she found it frustrating, not having a hoop or a frame, and attempting to learn on her own. I have a vivid memory of the day she gave up on it. I was in the kitchen making lunch for the children. She sat with her back to me, looking out toward the water, when she sighed and said it just wasn't for her, as she untucked it from her leg and placed it into a cupboard. I suppose I had a secret hope that I could try the kit, but it wasn't meant for me at that time. However, the seed had been planted. The visual appreciation of yarn-hooked rugs, the knowledge of a tool called a hook, and the craft called rug hooking. A decade later, my father bought a home on Cape Cod and started filling his home with rugs that reminded me of those Nantucket summers. I had passed I'm choking up because it's such a good article and it's so well written. I had passed the intervening years with many different fiber arts, but I still had the nagging desire to learn rug hooking, and his rugs only reawakened that desire. Even more years passed before I noticed that my local yarn shop was hosting a rug hooking class. I signed up immediately. I assumed it would be a class with a hook, since at that time I was unaware of any other technique. The class was using an Oxford punch needle. The history of rug hooking was discussed in the class, and I learned for the first time that there were two sides to the coin, two sides of hooking. So I'm going to stop there because the article is fantastic and you should get this copy of Rug Hooking Magazine. But, of course, Rebecca is well known for her punching, right? But all the same, she's also a hooker, and she's well aware that there are two sides of the coin. So she talks about the symbolism in the two designs she did for the front and back of the pillow. There is no front and back, right? And she talks a lot about, she's very linked to, of course, Amy Oxford, another great friend, another great person who's working within the fiber arts. Whether you are hooking, punching, latching, pennying, wool appliquing, it doesn't matter. We're all working in fiber arts, making textiles, right? It's all good. So I love that article. That was my favorite. But this is a very close second. This is vying. This is vying because we have looked at the book by the Gimbers, Mary Jo and Carl Gimber, on tavern signs, right? We've looked at that book a few times on Coffee Time because it's so good. And this article is about, let me take the card out, the subscription card, because it's going to make it hard to see what I want to show you. She's talking about, is a rug ever done? Because she finished some of the rugs in this article, and during the quiet pandemic months, she looked at them again and said, I don't like them. Taking it out, taking stuff out and replacing. And, you know, this is a great conversation to have. When you feel like this is the before that she hooked, right? Tavern signs. And then she changed it to that. And it just reminds us, you know, I'm always saying, you know, to beginners and beginner classes, just get some traction. Just make some progress and then think about what you want to rip out. But there are times when, and you know, I have to say I love both. So it's not like I have a strong opinion, particularly with this one. I still love both. But I see how it pops with that later background. And interesting, because she didn't change a ton, did she? She just changed the background. She left the border, she left everything else in place. And she looks at it again, you know, with these two. And as much as I love that just the way it is, when I see that, I think, yeah, I like that even more. But this article is about changing your mind. And nothing wrong with that, right? So another interesting article by Mary Jo Gimber, photography by Carl, her husband. And then there's a great article. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you'll always miss New England, I bet. I know. You know, and it's like, I was born in the Netherlands, but I grew up in Rhode Island. It's like what they say about Rhode Islanders, right? It's very hard for Rhode Islanders to leave Rhode Island. Even though I'm in Connecticut and it's so close, I still would really love to make my way back to Rhode Island. It's just something about it, you know? It's like, who knows? Who knows? Who cares? It's powerful. And it never goes away. So it happens to all of us, I think. Very few people leave New England, I think, and think, see you later, sucker. They think, like, part of my heart is always going to be there. So, yeah, I can identify with that. Now there's this really, another great sort of realist article on, it's a rug design, Going Beyond the Photograph, by Martha Rosenfeld. And this is like more, not portraiture, but more architectural, right? Looking at like travel photography and how to convert photographs to great rug designs. But what's great about this article is she's also really showing you how to make the most out of the medium, out of hooking. You know, it's still realism, it's still travel, it's still landscapes and cityscapes, but she is really making the most of the rug hooking part of it with like background design, you know, thoughtful things, tricks that we can do as hookers to add texture and interest to our pieces. She's keeping that part of the craft, but she's also showing us how to do realism with travel, architecture, outdoor landscapes. So another great article. And then there's a great article by Agnes Derda, who's from Hungary, and she's appeared in Rug Cooking Magazine before, talking about having had hand surgery and recovering, working on some projects that are just beautiful all the way in Hungary. So it's good to know that rug hooking is happening in other places. It's one of the big thrusts of this channel and my brand in general is getting people involved. Rhode Island is wonderful. Cousins and aunts there. The lake is at the join of Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. That is a nice little corner. That is a nice little corner. So that is really nice. And then Lizanne Miller of Cushing, of course, gives the free pattern of the month. It's a single paisley. It looks like this. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a real take on what Pearl McGowan did, right? But taking one single paisley gives you so much room for play. It is like, you know, a really, really, really strong pattern that you could really use for anything, right? That comes as a big fold out paper pattern in the center. That's your center fold. So, oh, and then part one of a series by Susan Grant about backgrounds, right? About beautiful backgrounds. So, for example, she's showing us this background, if you can see, very dark, sort of ombre plaid here, right? And then it makes this background. It might look black on the monitor, but it's not. It's got many nuances. It's got a lot going on. So this is the first article in a series about backgrounds. So that is going to be something to stay on top of and look forward to. She talks about backgrounds in all kinds of rugs, right? Not just florals, not just any one thing, but everything. So really, really nice issue. I think those, oh, and the other article that I pulled to mention is Dear Beginning Rug Hooking, How to Hook a Sunflower Inch Mat by Gail Dufresne. So, you know, the inch mat, because this came up for us in some of the books that we looked at that were 1920s, 1930s. An inch mat is when you've got squares that are an inch, right? Like an inch big. So this led us into that whole conversation about Mackenzie Childs, right? Mackenzie Child. You know, doing that kind of small checkered background is a good beginner thing to do. There's a lot of stopping and starting, right? That's the only thing. But an inch mat is a historic, an ahistoric, interesting, very traditional, fun, scrappy piece, right? And in the case of the one Gail's doing here, there's a sunflower in the middle. So she's incorporating the idea of an inch mat. We almost get like the Trip Around the World quilt pattern here. But she's got the sunflower in the middle that's hooked, not Proddy, little ladybug on it. And she's got the inch mat going around the edge. And I loved the article because it's a beautiful piece, but I also loved the reference to the inch mat. Because sunflower or not, doing the inch mat as an idea, if you have all scrappy bits and bobs left over, it's a great idea. I love the historic patterns, right? This is one that people would have designed obviously on their own. Really nice to get back to those early techniques, right? So inch mat, interesting. The whole article is interesting. And then the blast from the past, this is the last thing I'm going to end on today. You know, Rug Hooking Magazine often does a blast from the past, an old pattern that they're reprinting. I have to say, this is one of my favorite patterns of all time. Hook a Cup of Herb Tea. Make the Background Fun by Patty Patrick from the archives of Rug Hooking Magazine, January, February 2000, right? So this is after we all survived the Prince's 1999, right? The lights stayed on, the earth continued to turn, and there was a January 1st. This is when this article comes out. And they put out this absolutely beautiful, we're not getting good color because those are dark red hats, but I absolutely love this pattern. There is so much play in this pattern, so much movement, right? Sort of an elongated, stretched out horizontally little cup of tea with all of these dancing hearts like steam above it. There's a lot of variety in this border, right? It's almost like a portrait border, but a lot going on, a lot of room for play. So this is a great one to see for January, February. I think as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to be hooking this because I absolutely and sincerely love this pattern. It is so charming. It's so nice to find patterns, you know, that you could put in the kitchen. I like to have rugs all over the place, and you know, I like to have things that are related to food and drink in the kitchen, so that could be a nice one. There's one more that I'll share that says Sharon Opegard. This could be exactly your remedy for winter doldrums. She makes this beautiful rug and shows, not rug, egg, with quilly and like shearing techniques, right? Come on, you little stinker. So she's adding all kinds of bling to this egg, and she's showing you, it's a how-to article. She's showing you exactly how to do it. So something interesting to do, really visually beautiful article. She's showing you how to do that. So yeah, that is a great cure for the winter doldrums. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh, you know, I forgot about this one too. I'm gonna end on this. This Jean Otteson, inspired by childhood poetry of my daughters. She does a series of rugs. This is the Reader's Gallery part at the end of this issue, January, February 2022. So beautiful. You know, I was looking at these in bed last night while I was dozing, waiting for the sleeping pill to kick in. And these are just such charming rugs based on her daughter's, plural, poetry. So talk about working from your children's art, right? Working from their drawings, working from their poems. And she has some of their poems going like whistling, whipping, twirling, whirling, the everlasting wind, right? Poems that kids do are just so perfect for rug hooking. I love that. I love the snowman. I really love this one here, the mud flip plop. They're making mud cakes out in the yard. Really nice last article to the magazine. There's a lot more in here than what we covered, but it's a great issue. So I would highly recommend, if you don't subscribe, like I said, I think they're having a sale now. So if you are not a subscriber or you've let your subscription lapse, I would do it now. Because why pay more for it like in 2 weeks, right? That wouldn't make any sense at all. So super fun. I'm going to run an episode tomorrow for Thursday, and I don't think I'll run an episode the following day. Yes, I will. I'll run an episode on Thursday too. I'm just thinking the kids have a half day. I might have to run it. I might have to run it earlier because the kids have a half day, and the VR truck, which is the virtual reality truck, is pulling into the driveway right in the middle of the day. So I'll have to see how the timing goes. I'll get back to you on that and post something in the Facebook group if you belong, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. If you don't see me on Thursday, it's because I couldn't figure out how to get the timing to work. But I will certainly try because the kids are in school at least for a few hours in the morning, and then all hell breaks loose, as you know. But tomorrow I want to start looking at this book by Katie Kreiner. This book just came out, available on Amazon. I'll give you all that information tomorrow. Rug hooking with wool strips, right? The way that most people associate rug hooking using wool strips, for example, as opposed to yarn or other novelty fabrics. But it's a very nice book, and I want to look at this together with you tomorrow. We'll look at that on tomorrow's episode. Very contemporary book, lots of great projects. So, Rug Hooking with Wool Strips by Katie Kreiner. Tomorrow, same time, same place, YouTube channel, Ribbon Candy Hooking channel. I will be here with you and with another hideous sweater tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day. Until then, after we log off, I'm going to catch up. Please give us the thumbs up, right? Subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. Anything you can do to help the visibility of the channel. It's a great starting place for people who are beginning, but also, you know, for those of us who already know each other and just want to keep track. I pre-ordered that book. Looking forward to it. Good, Lisa. Yeah, it's a nice book. It's very contemporary. It's a very nice book. We'll look at it in detail tomorrow, and you can see if you haven't ordered it yet, because it is on pre-order, I think, with Amazon. If it's something that you would like. I will see you tomorrow at noon. Until then, have a great day. And remember, all the links I